Hey YouTube, Mark Hoffman here, and today I kind of want to talk about a little bit of a change that I've had in storing some of my Victorinox knives. Now I know I did a video on me having only 10 Swiss Army knives, but you can obviously see that that is not something I can possibly do. My willpower and the need to find more Swiss Army knives is too great, and I'm not able to keep that promise. So these are all Swiss Army knives that I have been currently just kind of tossing in the pocket. Now I've already done my video of the top 5 knives that have been in my pocket for November, and I will say that these are probably the ones that I'm going to be grabbing from in this container. And really quick, we're going to go through what I usually just kind of grab for. So if you guys are interested in this, watch on and find out what I grab in my go-to Swiss Army knife options. But if you guys don't care, it's fine if you switch off the video. But I've found that you guys seem to like these Swiss Army knife videos, and I thought I would just kind of throw this one out there. So first off, I do throw the Handyman in my pocket every once in a while. I've been using this a lot to help with hanging and getting all my Christmas lights up. This thing really does help, and having it, I have found a lot of these tools help with those tiny wires that hold the lights together. Some of the things that you have to do to modify Christmas lights to stay on, you know, the whole spiel. But the Handyman is something that I've found very, very useful. Another one that I find very, very useful is the Explorer. This is an Explorer from probably the 1990s, and I find this very useful when I'm at work, primarily because at work I am every once in a while without my loop, and sometimes I may be looking at a client's watch and I don't want to have my loop with me. I want to keep that at my desk, so I do use this magnifying glass to assess watches and look at the movements, caliber numbers, serial numbers, everything under the sun. But the Explorer is fantastic. I usually grab for that every once in a while when I know a client will be coming in for either an assessment or possibly selling a watch. This is the Camper. This is a Victorinox Camper. I don't think I've done a video on this yet, but I will be doing one soon. Fantastic knife. A lot of my corkscrew knives, I'm trying to get the micro screwdriver in there. I have found that to be very useful at work, and just having that is very, very helpful. So that's the Camper, and right behind the Camper, I'm going to pull out the Wenger Forester. The Forester is essentially the Camper, but it has a little bit of a beneficial feature here. It has a nail file. So you've got this nail file and nail cleaner. So that's a little bit of a difference, and you also have a difference in size. The Camper is 91 millimeters, Forester is 85, and I actually find this to be really, really nice in the pocket. It's just compact, it's hand-filling, but at the same time very, very useful and doesn't take up a lot of room. And only downside, I guess, is the shorter saw, but usually you're only cutting down some small limbs. Right here, I think this is the Evolution 11 or 13, no, Evolution 13. And this is essentially Victorinox's continuation of the, if I have it here, I don't think I have it here. It's actually in my wallet, but this is Victorinox's continuation of the Traveler. I think this is the 13 and this is maybe the 10, one or the other. I can't remember. Google it. This one here has the Evil Grip scales. I haven't done a review on this one, but I have really been enjoying it. And one of the benefits is that they actually went with a rivet to hold these this together rather than a screwdriver. But Wenger did switch over to a rivet later on, so the factory was already capable of doing that. Now, this one is very, very good, and it's also 85 millimeters. Now, you already saw this one before. I've done a video on this, but this is essentially a Victorinox Sportsman. It's just from the Delamont factory. And then I do have a Sportsman here. So this is the Victorinox Sportsman, and why they call it the Sportsman is you get a nail file. It's essentially a 85 millimeter Spartan, 84 millimeter Spartan. but with a nail file. So that's essentially the same. And then this is the Commander from Wenger, and the Wenger Commander is essentially Wenger's answer to Victorinox's Sportsman. Has a nail file. It's essentially the same knife, but I actually enjoy carrying the Wenger just a little bit more than the Victorinox, only because the awl has a little bit more of a scraping option, allowing it to actually scrape, pry, just light stuff, whereas the Victorinox one is really good for just cutting into something. So we've got that. I think I've got another Commander in. Yeah, this is another Commander here. This one is probably from the late 80s and 90s. This one is from probably the early 2000s, but it's essentially the same. So we got that. We also have an Esquire here. I have done a video on this one, and this has soon become a favorite in my pocket just because of how light it is, and it's a little bit bigger than a classic. Here is an Executive. Now, Executives have nail file, nail cleaner, scissors, large blade, and a very, very, very small blade, and then an orange peeler, toothpick, tweezer. So it is a very useful knife, and what I'm really happy about is I just picked up 2 of these on eBay for 14 bucks. So woohoo! But the other thing that I really like about this is that it's just very compact. You got a lot of options here, and it was one of MacGyver's favorites. So that's another reason why I carry it. And then here is something very similar. This is an Ambassador. It's essentially like a classic SD on steroids. You've got nail file, nail cleaner. You've got your large blade, and then you've got your 74mm scissors, which are fantastic. Beautiful thing. So you got the 74, 65mm, then you got your 85mm. And then here is a Huntsman. This is a modern Huntsman. This thing is just something I throw into the pocket when I know I'm going to have some work, but I just don't want to carry the handyman. So we've got that. Here is Swiss Champ. I do carry this still. I just haven't really needed to carry it in a while. I don't use everything on here all that much, but I have been using it lately, and it's still a very useful tool, and I just don't see myself selling it. It's just, these things can get really expensive, and for me personally, I'm not going to sell it. It's a great tool. Here's a Victorinox Spartan. This is just a white scaled Spartan, but this is essentially a standard modern day Spartan, and I have thrown in the micro screwdriver. So that's another option I've got in there. This is a Victorinox Traveler. This was the predecessor to the Victorinox Climber. It just doesn't have a hook. So the hook is essentially the if I can get it out here, this is a parcel hook, and they added that in the late 90s. And this one is an early 90s model, so it doesn't have the hook. So, and I actually like that. It just, I don't use the hook all that much, only to really open drawers and doors that don't have a handle or anything like that. It's just useful in that case. Here is another camper. So this is another camper I got in a knife lot. I have yet to clean this one up. It's really gummy. I'm probably going to take this one to work tomorrow and get it all cleaned up. And you know how that goes. You've seen my videos. But this one here, another great knife. This is probably going to be one that I throw in the garage, and it's just going to be something I have there. Let me see here. And then here is a Tinker. Now, I still am going to do a follow-up video on this Tinker. I do use it quite a bit, and I have found it to be very, very useful. It's just I haven't done the video on it yet. So I will be doing that very soon, and I hope you guys will stick around for that. And we've got one more. So this is the Rally. Yeah, this is the Victorinox Rally, and essentially it's like your classic SD, but it adds a cap lifter and a Phillips head and a small wire stripper. And for me personally, it's a very useful little knife. It's a 2-layer, so it's a little thicker than your classic SD, but I find it to be very useful. Only reason it's not on my keys is because I've taken the spring out of it for the Luna. So I've got a spring on the way, and I will be replacing that, and I will be doing a video on how to replace a spring on a Victorinox knife, and that is it. So this is really just all that I grab really for just day-to-day use. I do have other knives that I do grab and use, but when I just want to have a Swiss Army knife that's safe to use and it's not a collector's item, I usually go for one or other of these. So thought you guys would enjoy this, and this is how I've been keeping them. I just kind of throw them in here and just kind of grab and go as I please. So till the next one, I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.